Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Believe in Bengals podcast presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Solomon Wilcots, and today we have a very special guest. He's one of the great journalists that covers the National Football League and has done so for years. And of course, he is the national reporter for the NFL Network. He wears many hats with many talents. Steve Wyche joining us on the show today. Steve, how you doing today?
Solomon, thanks so much for having me on. So good to catch up, my man. It's been a minute.
I know, man. Look, you've made my home your home out there on the West Coast in Los Angeles, and but look, we're more than willing to share. I've swapped out the sun and fun in Los Angeles for the snow in
Oh,
Cincinnati. So, but we're making the best of
well, better you than me, Solly. I hope everybody there is safe because I
it.
know it is no joke.
Yeah, it's real, but it's quite okay. Look, first of all, let's get started by congratulating you because you're ready to be inducted into the Black College Football Hall of Fame. You're alumni of course, the great Howard University, where so many prestigious, talented men and women have come out of that great university as part of our historical Black colleges and university system. HBCUs is what we all know it as. And look, you're going into the Hall of Fame there as a contributor. What does that mean to you?
It means everything. Solly, I mean, it's incredibly humbling knowing you're going to a Hall of Fame, right? There's 37 Pro Football Hall of Famers who went to HBCUs, Jerry Rice, Walter Payton, Jackie Slater, Robert Brazile, guys like that. But to also know that there are great journalists like Charlie Neal
Yeah.
or Bill Nunn,
Yeah.
who longtime Steelers legend, and
Yeah.
I'm going to be in that category, and I'm going to be in a room going in with a class that includes Jimmy Smith, the old Jaguars wide receiver, and Tyrone Poole, and Eddie Robinson Jr.,
Yeah. Yeah.
Nick Collins, the great safety who played for the Packers, and Rudy Hubbard.
Yeah.
And so for them just to kind of even think of me, it's weird, because Solomon, the best assignment I get every year is do the Pro Football Hall of Fame door knocks, right? It's the
Yeah.
most incredible thing. We set up a ruse,
Hmm.
and then we surprise, whoever's going in. And for me to get kind of door knocked, for lack of a better word, and have Doug Williams and James
Yeah.
Shaq Harris call me to let me know. I'm still blown away by it. It means an absolute ton to me.
I was with the NFL Network in its first year in its inception in 2003. I think you came about 5 years later, I believe, right around
Yep, came in
2008. You've been
2008.
there.
Yep.
Yeah, you've been there ever since. I mean, 18 years. And you've been doing this a long time. And you know as well as anyone, because you are such a lover of history. You do a really wonderful job of really identifying those real benchmarks of where our league has grown and some of the
Yeah.
things that have made it great. And I like to believe that if you go back and look at the impact that many of the athletes who have come out of the HBCU system that came into the National Football League, but first, as you well know, through the AFL. This
Right.
explosion of the AFL was due to a lot of those great players, which made that merger possible. Why don't you kind of walk us through that and talk to us about how many of those players really I think, are foundational for the league that we see today?
Solomon, that's an incredible point that gets overlooked a lot. When you
Yeah.
think about some of the great HBCU athletes, let's take Willie Lanier, for
There you
existence, right?
go.
Who went to Morgan
Yeah.
State University,
Hmm.
played for the Kansas City Chiefs of the AFL. He was the
Yeah.
first black middle linebacker
That's right.
at any level of pros.
Hmm.
And you think about the AFL, it wasn't just players. It was officials. It
Yes.
was some people who helped run the league with Al Davis
Yeah.
and people with the AFL saying, we don't really care. We're going to stock our rosters. And
Yeah.
it got to the point where the NFL was like, the best players are going to the
That's right.
AFL.
That's right.
Emerson Boozer, guys
That's right.
like the best players are going to the AFL. So
Right.
we've got to get them into the NFL. When the merger happened, it
Yeah.
made that transition easier, especially in certain markets.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad you brought up the importance of the AFL and how so much of the foundation, especially when it comes to integration, started with the American Football League.
Yeah, and I look at those teams that won all the championships in the AFL in the 60s, like the Chargers and the Raiders, and more
Right.
importantly, the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Hunt family, they got on that bandwagon. They just start taking as many as they could. The great Emmett Thomas, Willie Lanier, Buck
Buck
Buchanan, some of those
Buchanan.
great guys.
Yeah.
And then there was a guy that you named earlier, Bill Nunn. He helped along with Dick Haley because the
Right.
Pittsburgh Steelers in the 70s, it solidified their dynasty. Their roster were full of HBCU players, whether it was Mean Joe Green, whether it was John Stallworth, and whether it was some of the other
Mel
truly
Blunt,
great
Donnie
players.
Shell,
Donnie
L.C.
Shell, that's right.
Greenwood.
The list is long, by
Yeah.
the way, right? And they dominated the 70s. But Bill Nunn, just kind of talk about the impact that he made on the Steelers and on the NFL as a whole.
Yeah, so for those who don't know about Bill Nunn, first off, he's the father of Radio Raheem and Spike
Right.
Lee's Do the Right Thing.
Do the right
but
thing.
He was a longtime journalist for the Pittsburgh Tribune, which every year named the Black College All-American football team. And this is how you got to hear about players like Mel Blunt and Donnie Shell.
That's right.
And since he was based in Pittsburgh, the Steelers were like, man, because he would funnel players. He would talk, him and why am I blanking? Who am I blanking? Who used to work with us? Solly used to work for the Cowboys. Recently passed. It'll come to me. But anyway, they used to help the teams. Hey, look at this kid from an HBCU, and look at this guy from an HBCU. They're like, instead of you being the recommender, just go scout them for us. Go down to Grambling, go down to Southern, go to places like that, and work for us. So he went to go work for the Steelers after this great career. But people would actually go start recruiting players based off of his All-American list.
Wow.
And that's how Too Tall Jones and a lot of these guys, again, think about you had a team down at Jackson State that had Jackie Slater, Walter Payton, and Robert Brazile all on the same team. Right. But people didn't really go down to Jackson, Mississippi. And this is late 70s. So it was guys like Bill Nunn who helped educate some of the football. There wasn't a lot of the tape and the video aspect that we have now. Some of these people know how to go recruit some of these athletes.
That's right. Now I could be wrong if my memory corrects. Is John Wooten is probably who you were trying to mention? I do believe.
No, well, Gil Brandt. No, I'm thinking Gil Brandt.
Okay, Gil Brandt.
That's right. Was the guy who really recruited HBCU. That's why the Cowboys have such a rich history.
Ed Too Tall Jones, right? Ed Too Tall Jones.
Too Tall Jones out of Tennessee State. They've got a bunch of them.
First player selected in the draft from Tennessee State from an HBCU school. Look, I want to maybe just get a little bit more because it was just today that we heard that Shadeur Sanders is going to make the Pro Bowl, and he did wonderfully when he was at Jackson State. Of course, Deion and he ended up going on to Colorado, but we should let people know that Shadeur Sanders is a product of the HBCU system. And now he's in the NFL, but to hear his name being part of the Pro Bowl, now it's all because, Drake May's not going to be able to play in it. He's going on to the Super Bowl. We're going to get to that in a minute, but wanted to get your impressions just on Shadeur Sanders going to the Pro Bowl, considering him as an HBCU product as well.
Well, of course, Solly, anything with Shadeur is controversial because people like Shadeur Sanders is like 20 people in line, and it's true. But what people don't understand is, one, there's no more Pro Bowl game. It's a flag football game.
That's right.
These guys are going down and doing things like when we were young, Sally, there was a show called The Superstars.
Yes.
That's kind of what they're doing. They're running 40-yard dashes. They're playing games. They're doing things to entertain.
Yeah.
Well, so a lot of people are like, you know what? This is one of the few pockets of time I have with my family. So they may turn it down. So Shadeur was available. The league and everyone knows he's popular. Yeah. So good on Shadeur. He didn't start for halfway through the season. He made strides. He wasn't on a great team, but look, for him to get this opportunity and go do it, people can say whatever they want. It is what it is. It's a flag football game. But I guarantee you, he will be one of the most visible people at the Pro Bowl because of kind of the buzz he generates, like a lot of players we know.
Yeah, I think we should let people know because you get to cover players every single day. I've been blessed with the opportunity to cover this league for a long time, and there are things that maybe the general NFL fan may not even be aware of. But he, when Shadeur landed in Cleveland, he really poured himself into the community. He would go out to schools. He would go into the inner city and allow these kids to feel, see, and touch him. And you and I both know, because we grew up in some of these communities, anytime an NFL player showed up at your school and showed up and came in your cafeteria and ate lunch with you, I mean, that meant everything. And those are some of the things that he's doing in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, and look, and people can think what they want. You and I both know Dion. That's who Dion is.
That's exactly
Right.
right.
Now Dion is so super high profile. It's at a whole different scale that neither one of us can imagine. But
Yeah.
Dion raised his sons a certain way, but a lot of it is to be servant leaders. And that is what Shadeur did in Cleveland while he was on the bench or whatever. He still was, other than Myles Garrett, the most popular guy on the team, the most recognizable person on the team.
Yeah.
He didn't run away from it. A lot of people are like, hey, I'm going to do what is only required of me by the team. And that's the line. He was like, I'm not playing. So let me go above and beyond that line. I'm not hurting my teammates. I'm not hurting myself. But he still poured into himself. And you hear the behind-the-scenes stories about how hard he worked, despite not getting opportunities. You know, he did everything he was supposed to do. And then when you talk about the community service aspect, and then some.
And then some. Myles Garrett tells the story that every morning when he gets in, he says he gets into the building very early. He said Shadeur Sanders is already in the room, already has the work has already begun for him. And he said that's when he really believed that this was an opportunity worth providing for this young man. And so many of his teammates, he's already won those guys over. You and I both know that's where it really does start, is in the locker room. Before we let you go, I want to talk to you about Super Bowl 60 that's going to be played in Santa Clara. We all know that's the San Francisco market, but Santa Clara is quite south of San Francisco. But this is a rematch of that game played in Super Bowl 49. We all still remember Malcolm Butler coming away with the game-winning interception. And Tom Brady's over there jumping up and down. And I think this game, more than any, Steve, is a reminder that defense does win championships. This game is going to be about the best defenses. It's about two really good defensive-minded coaches who is trying to find the best pathway to victory, and Mike Vrabel and Mike Macdonald. What comes to mind for you when you think about this matchup?
Sally, you know, you and I are both defensive guys, so I love this conversation. And look, and how about this? In this era of quarterback whispers and all this and that, we have two defensive head coaches in this game, but we also have two great offensive coordinator minds. I mean, Clint Kubiak, the young guy who's still really hot on some teams' radars. And of course, Josh McDaniels, who is maybe the best game-by-game and in-game offensive adjuster that we have in the NFL. But let's talk about the defenses, because I've spent a lot of time with the Seahawks over the past few weeks. That defensive front, and I'm not pulling any strings here, hyperbole, it leaves carnage on the field.
That's right.
When you talk to players that they have to face, they said it is so difficult to sustain blocks against Leonard Williams and Byron Young, Byron Murphy and those guys. Like they get and they shed, right? So that's why their linebackers run clean. That's why Ernest Jones is able to get to places with so much fury and connect. And then in the back end, they're so good and they're so deep. And Solomon, I know you love this because Devin Witherspoon and that rookie Nick Eamon-Warry are two aces in a deck that nobody else in the league has. Some teams have one of them, right? Derwin James is one. Kyle Hamilton is one. They've got two. You can play them anywhere. They can tackle, they can cover, and they can run. So Seattle's defense, it's going to be very difficult because even when you see Drake May leak out on some of the runs, they've got guys who can get there and get to him, right? He's not going to be able to hit those 28-yard runs against them. That said, New England's defense is completely overlooked. That defensive line is just physical and it's great, and Vrabel schemes it up with a lot of five-man front looks. That can mix it up. So I'm just going to see how well they adjust to some of the personnel packaging games that Kubiak puts up against them and how they match up, because they've got good corners, right? They've got Dean and they've got Gonzalez. And those safeties are pretty good as well.
And Carlton Davis and Marcus Jones is phenomenal himself, right? He made the All-Pro team this year.
So, I mean, those defenses are so good. We can make it easy and say, giveaways, takeaways. That's what it's going to come down to. But I'm 100% with you. I don't know if this is going to be a high-scoring game. It could be an ugly, kind of in-the-mud type of game.
That's right.
And, I mean, if I had to lean away, I'd say Seattle just because, man, they are,
fast and
violent group, man.
Fast and look, I want you to give me something on each guy, because I'm a firm believer that players tend to take on the personality of their coach. And I heard Mike Vrabel. Remember, we grew up on that movie Warriors Come Out to Play.
He had
that's right. He had the chant going that came from Mike Vrabel. And Mike Vrabel really was trying to get, obviously, they won 9 road games this season.
Yeah.
I think that's more than any other team has ever won to get to a Super Bowl. So I think they should be commended on that. But I think Mike Vrabel understands he's trying to capture a mentality. He's trying to take them to a place that allows them to play with a mindset of physicality, with bad intentions, as I like to say.
Right.
And then on the other side, you had Mike Macdonald. He talks about going to the dark side. I mean, so what more can you tell us about these guys' personalities and how their teams, the players, have adopted that same mentality?
Well, let's talk about that dark side. Let's go to Seattle first, because part of it, this is a defensive mutt.
Yeah.
Look at all the cast-offs on that team. You've got linebacker, Ernest Jones, cast off by the Rams. Leonard Williams.
That's
a ton
right.
of players. Demarcus Lawrence.
Yeah.
People thought these guys were better without you, and they've adopted that, right?
Yeah.
So we're taking you on the dark side with us. They are so unified.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy because you've got all these young dudes in the secondary who are new to this, so they don't know any better. And then you got all these goons up front who are like, this is how we do things here.
Yeah.
And then Mike Macdonald, he's a very understated guy, but he plays into it. And what doesn't go mentioned is he's got the ultimate personality tactician in Leslie Frazier as his assistant head coach. And so this Leslie Frazier might be the smartest guy in the NFL.
He's super guy. Super brilliant.
He can communicate it in a fatherly way that doesn't make it seem like he's talking down to you. An HBCU Black College Football Hall of Famer, Alcorn State.
That's right. People
forget he also was a starting corner on that 85 Bears defense.
85 Bears. Don't sleep on him, right?
Don't think that has not been brought up in this way.
That's right.
Then also, with Vrabel, of course, he's as big as his players, right? So he can come in there and say whatever he wants to say, and dudes would be like, okay, I'm not messing with coach. I'm following his lead.
Yeah.
But what the crazy thing is, this is a lot of the personnel they had on last year's defense. It is not significantly different compared to some teams. He just got it in their heads like, this is how it's done. Capture the moment. Like, I was on Patriots teams that went to Super Bowls multiple times. That doesn't happen often. So capture this moment. And that's what I think the Patriots have done as they've gotten better. And he's got them believing in this stuff. They ride in this train. People are saying we played a light schedule. Yeah. People say we had the easiest path to the playoffs because Houston's offense wasn't great, the Chargers' offense wasn't great, and the Broncos didn't have their starting quarterback. So people are sleeping on us. Those dudes are dug in, man. So it's going to be mind games. The only thing I hate about it, Sal, is we got 2 weeks to wait.
I know, right? I know.
Can they bottle that fury that they have right now and sustain it until then?
I'm ready to see them go this Sunday. Like, I'm really ready for that. But you have to understand that the Patriots weathered the storm against two of the truly great defenses in our league. The Houston Texans, I just asked Josh Allen what they can do to you. That's one of the greatest defenses in our league right now. Then to go on the road against the Denver Broncos defense that led the league with 68 sacks during the regular season. And to survive it because Drake May, his mobility, that's what got them through. And now they're getting ready to play the other great defense. If they can go through this one and win a Super Bowl title.
Oh my gosh.
They're the best 3 defenses by far in our league, right? Seattle,
and here's the other
Houston,
thing.
and Denver.
The first team that the Patriots played is a top 5 defense in the Chargers. That's why Jesse Minter's coaching
That's right.
the Ravens now.
That's right.
That defense is stacked as well. Let's not forget that.
That's true.
And here's a player that no one's talking about right now, and this is where Josh McDaniels and the Patriots need to be acknowledged. Running back Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah, look what he has done over the past month. Everyone says he's a great pass protector, good in the pass game. Look at his rushing numbers. And if it wasn't for him against Denver in that second half, in particular that opening drive, that 16-play drive coming out of halftime, they wouldn't be here. Yeah, they would not be here. He was such an anchor to that offense when maybe things weren't working here and there. So that's another player that needs to be acknowledged. And could play a factor again against the stonewall defensive front, who, Sally, as you like to say, he's got bad intentions, man.
Bad intentions.
Bad intentions.
Yeah, bad. And this is going to be one heck of a game. Steve, I know You got a lot on your plate. I know you're busy. I want to thank you for taking the time to join us. We always appreciate you. We appreciate the great work you do, helping to chronicle the great stories in our league. Keep up the great work, and we'll see you down the road, and hopefully we'll see you at the Super Bowl in Santa Clara.
Appreciate you, Solomon.
All right, all the best. He is the great Steve Wyche. I am Solomon Wilcots. This is the Believe in Bengal podcast presented by FanDuel. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, everyone, to the Believe in Bengal podcast right here presented by FanDuel. We want to thank Steve Wyche of the NFL Network for joining us earlier on the show. But now I want to talk a little bit more about the expected Super Bowl game to be played in Santa Clara, Super Bowl 60. That's right, between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. This is a rematch of Super Bowl 49. As we all recall, that was the game where Malcolm Butler came away with a game-winning interception at the end of the game off Russell Wilson with Marshawn Lynch standing in the backfield. Instead of giving him the ball, they attempted a pass near the goal line, and Malcolm Butler of the New England Patriots stole the ball and ended up stealing the game away from the Seattle Seahawks, handing yet another Vince Lombardi trophy over to Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. I think this game is going to be very similar. This is going to be about who has the better defense. Is it the Seattle Seahawks or is it the New England Patriots? I can tell you this, both defenses rank top 5 in scoring defense. How about that? Both teams do a really good job in what we call scoring drive percentage allowed. How many times do you allow the opponent per each possession to score? Mostly in an NFL game, each team will average about 10 possessions. Well, on the season, the Seattle Seahawks ranked second with allowing a 29% scoring drive percentage allowed by their opponents. 29.2% of the opponent's possessions that they were able to score. That means roughly 71% of the time, the opposing team, when playing the Seahawks defense, did not score. I mean, that's phenomenal. Only the Houston Texans were better. And guess who was in third place? The New England Patriots at 29.6% scoring drive percentage allowed. That means only about 4 percentage points really separated these two defenses when it came to their ability to keep the other team from scoring. It's phenomenal. The Seattle Seahawks ranked number 1 in points allowed per game, giving up only 17.2 points per game. That's phenomenal. 18 points a game were allowed by the New England Patriots on defense. They rank 4th in that category. So number 1, Seattle, in terms of points allowed per game, and then 4th ranked defense were the New England Patriots. That's how close these defenses are. I do think this is the year of the defense. The team with the better defense, that's the team that's going to win the Super Bowl. I said it before the season even started. And I thought the Denver Broncos, the Houston Texans, and I thought Seattle would be here. I had no idea that the New England Patriots would be this good. But when you consider that their coach has the ability to become the first person in NFL history to win a Vince Lombardi trophy as a player and as the head coach. That's right, Mike Vrabel has a chance to become the first person ever to be able to win both as the head coach and as a player. Did so many a times with the New England Patriots, and now going back. In fact, he'd be the first person to do that with the same franchise. Let's go ahead and be clear. Because there was a guy, some other coaches who have done that. They've won Super Bowls. Tony Dungy won a Super Bowl when he was in Pittsburgh, and then he won a Super Bowl as a head coach with the Indianapolis Colts. But Mike Vrabel would be the only one to do that with the same franchise. That's how good these defenses are. I think it's going to be a head knocker. Check in with us later in the week on our next edition of the Believe in Bengal podcast. We're going to pick a winner, and we're going to tell you who is going to win Super Bowl 60. But that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Believe in Bengal podcast presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Solomon Wilcots. Thanks for joining us, everyone.